Leftover women in China are breaking down into tears.
A 5-year-old single woman in China has set such high standards for her future spouse.
My requirements for a partner are simple. They should have a ready-made house with no mortgage, preferably be a native of Shanghai, have experience living abroad, work as a manager in a company, and most importantly, have good temperament. Someone like Daniel Wu would be ideal.
However, at a matchmaking event with thousands of participants, nobody even glances at.
Leftover women in China are breaking down into tears. Guys, a lot of these women said that they were Miss Independent, they didn't need any man, or they would wait until they got older to get a guy. Now they find themselves childless and single and unable to attract someone, and they are breaking down into tears. This is a situation that is repeating itself over and over. Today's video comes from the China Unvarnished channel. They will be linked in the description of the video. Go and check them out and support their content. Watch to the end of the video to fully understand why these leftover women in China are breaking down into tears as men are choosing to avoid them, not get into relationships with them, and the implications this is going to have for women and society going forward. Now let's just go ahead and jump right back into the video.
The stark contrast between her ideals and reality leaves her feeling lost.
I'm told I'm the oldest woman here, she says. I don't want to continue anymore.
Wenjie, 35, is a senior executive in a company. Born and raised in Shanghai, she has always had a privileged upbringing, coupled with some good looks, which made her quite popular in her 20s. However, her high standards have prevented her from finding a suitable partner. It's only now that she's starting to feel the true weight of loneliness. So, whenever she has free time, she shuttles between various matchmaking events in Shanghai. But in her eyes, all the prospective partners are subpar. It's her high and rigid standards that have kept her single for so long. Despite realizing her mistake, she refuses to lower her criteria, even in the face of criticism from matchmakers.
What do you have to offer? What makes you so special? What can you give him? Just because you're a woman? Are there not enough women out there? But Wenjie, 35, can't hear any of these words. Seeing Wenjie's attitude, the matchmaker can only helplessly introduce her to a wealthy and handsome man for a blind date. To Wenjie, this man is undoubtedly the ideal marriage partner, but to him, she's worthless.
To be honest, I don't even want to look at her.
Upon hearing the wealthy man's evaluation of her, Wenjie breaks down. She cries like a teenager. But reality is cruel. When you demand high standards from others, you must also examine whether you meet those standards. In China, there are many older single women like Wenjie. They generally focus only on the man's financial status and social standing, while lacking a clear understanding of their own shortcomings. Their standards for choosing a partner are often very demanding, even unrealistic. Next, let's take a look at some of the exaggerated demands made by other older single women.
As a 38-year-old single woman, are our standards for choosing a partner really too high? I don't think so. Even if you don't have money, it's fine, I can support you. I only care about your age. I like men born after 1995. I absolutely do not want men over 30 years old. After all, the health of the child is directly related to the father, right? Another requirement is that I won't consider men who are infertile. Additionally, my standards are even stricter. Men who can't have healthy children are absolutely not acceptable. As for the bride price, I can give you money, say, 200,000 yuan. But our child must take my surname. You should be at least 1.8 meters tall and have abs.
Y'all, this is that's a very masculine woman right there. She said that she will pay a man to marry her, so she'll pay a dowry, but he has to be a Chad, and the child has to take her surname, and he has to have good genetics. I mean, guys, it sounds like what she's really trying to do is find a man to get her pregnant and then have the guy as her boy toy, basically be his sugar mama, and then discard of him later on as she sees fit. This is crazy. I mean, when you talk about this lack of femininity, men want a woman who's fit, feminine, and friendly. And here she is saying that, she's making all of these demands. He's gonna have to have all of these characteristics. He needs to be a certain height. I don't know. And women don't even seem to stop and think, why would a man want to get into such a relationship? Like, ask themselves, you could say to a woman, okay, ask yourself, would a woman want to get into a relationship with you? If would a woman want to be in a relationship with you, just based on the things you're asking for, be reasonable and ask yourself, would a woman want to be in a relationship with you? And for many of them, their response will be, it does not matter. We're talking about men. Men are different, so men have to settle for whatever we say they have to settle for. All right? We tell men what they are allowed to like and what they are allowed to want. We decide what we want from men, and that's it. Men don't tell us what they want from us. They don't tell us what they like about us. We tell them what they can like about us. This is the mental state, and this is driven by the fact that they don't view us as human beings. They view us as machines, as objects that they do not like, they really do not want, but they simply need at times. And as soon as they no longer need you, they will get rid of you. That is the sad reality that we now live in. And even as these women are breaking down into tears, they are still refusing to compromise on any of these things, not realizing that so many of these men don't even want to be in a relationship with them, would never even give them the time of day, and they're still high up there on this pedestal. I mean, in the United States alone, you know, 45% of women will be childless and single come 2030, between the ages of 25 and 44. That's not counting single mothers. But in China, we have an increasing number of women that are childless and single. Right, 100 is like, the numbers are increasing by like 100 million women every year. Like every year, 100 million more women are aging out of the family unit, aging out of potentially being able to get married and have children. And the Chinese government cannot provide for these women. This is how the Roman Empire fell. The Roman Empire fell after they gave women extraordinary freedoms and rights, no fault divorce, and men basically, and they began running off with Chads and Tyrones and divorcing their husbands. And then men stopped marrying, men stopped having children, they stopped protecting the empire. They were barred from, going to theaters, going to the Coliseum, participating in any public events. Even they were even forced to run in the streets during the winter time. Single men were forced to run the streets during the winter time to punish them, and they still would not get married. They were called worse than all of the criminals in the Roman Empire, because the Roman Empire was pissed off that because these men were no longer marrying, now the Roman Empire had to completely subsidize the living of all the women within the empire. Within 100 years, the empire had no more money. It had no one protecting the empire. The doors were fully open, and everything that they had was going towards subsidizing the living of women, while men completely walked away. And then barbarians from Asia came in, and they basically saw that the emperor had no clothes. They couldn't protect themselves. They had no wealth, and the men weren't going to do anything. They pillaged the empire, and we were plunged into 1,000 years of darkness. And that's the story. That's the story of the Roman Empire, and that's what's happening in Western society right now, where an increasing number of men are walking away. I mean, 70% of men have completely stopped dating in the United States, and modern women don't seem to comprehend any of this. They're like, "Oh, great, men won't approach us anymore." But how do Good, don't approach us. But hey, guys, how do we approach you? Women don't understand that a man does not want a woman that is not approachable to approach him. If you're an unapproachable woman, if you're saying men do not approach us, but then asking, how can I approach you? A man does not want to be in a relationship with someone who is unapproachable. Okay? But because women believe that they are all powerful, that they run everything, that the state is just there to do their bidding, that they are in charge of the state is not in charge of them. They believe that they can have everything and do anything, and they are completely unstoppable. This is not true. All right, they have special privileges. All right, special privileges. All right, and those privileges can be taken away at any given time, any given moment. The state is broke. The state cannot subsidize the living of women anymore. And the more that the state tries to punish men, the more men will just run and hide. Right now, what's going on? Women are demanding that men are not allowed to gather in any space. So, for example, the men are not allowed to be large amounts of men are not allowed to be in any space, or the it's crazy. And basically, they want men surveilled in every area. They want men surveilled in every place within public spaces or even online. They want men. That's why the IRS is. That's why the FBI is surveilling men on YouTube. They're surveilling men in gaming because women are demanding that men are placed under 24-hour surveillance and that there are no male-dominated spaces except for prison where men are under 24/7 surveillance. Like that just illustrates how much these people dislike us. But then at the same time, some of these women will turn around and say, "Oh, I don't HATE men. I don't HATE men." But they need to be kept on. They need to be kept in check. They need to be kept under surveillance. Like talk about. They don't realize that they're just creating a society that no one's going to want to live in. We live in an absolute dystopia right now, and it just continues to get worse and worse by the day. This is only going to lead to more women living in poverty and destitution in the coming years. Extreme levels of homelessness among women, poverty among women, women living in shelters, living on the streets, living in the woods. It's going to be terrible. And a lot of men are going to become wealthy because they're no longer providing for women. They're just making enough money to survive and thrive and no more. So they're living well, eating well. Most men are living far below their means. As a result, they're stacking paper, making investments, and those investments are going to grow over time. So as the livelihoods of women diminishes as they get older, the pockets of men are going to grow fatter. By the way, guys, if you're enjoying the content, subscribe to our newsletter for my personal thoughts, insights, and a free copy of my ebook, The Blueprint for Escaping the Rat Race. Click the link in the description to get your free copy. What do you guys think regarding all of this? Leftover women in China are breaking down into tears. Let me know your thoughts, and we'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away, and cheers.